Okay, welcome back to our discussion on accounting for property, plant and equipment. In our previous video, we discussed cost model for measuring property, plant and equipment after initial recognition. In this video, we are going to discuss revaluation model for measuring property, plant and equipment after its initial recognition. So, if the entity can determine the fair value of the property, plant and equipment more reliably, then entity may choose to adopt revaluation model. Under revaluation model, the carrying amount of the property, plant and equipment can be computed like this. You can get the revalued amount. From the revalued amount, you can deduct accumulated depreciation and you can deduct accumulated impairment losses. So you don't need to revalue your property, plant and equipment at the end of each year. If you are willing to do so, you can revalue your property, plant and equipment at the end of each year. At the end of every year, you can determine the revalued amount. But the accounting standard doesn't specifically say that you should determine the revalued amount at the end of each year. Instead, you can do this revaluation regularly. If you have impairment losses and accumulated depreciation, you can deduct this accumulated depreciation and the impairment from the revalued amount so that you can decide the carrying amount at the reporting date. So let's see how to determine the fair value of property, plant and equipment. According to accounting standards, the fair value of land and buildings, that means the fair value of properties, should be decided by professionally qualified valuers. Usually these people are the chartered valuers. So what about the other items of PP? For other items of PP, the fair value should be determined by making a market appraisal. Let's say you have the entity has used or all motor vehicles, and we have secondary market for motor vehicles, and we can determine the fair value of these entities all motor vehicles by referring to the secondary vehicle market in the country. Though we can consider information available from the secondary vehicle market, and by making an appraisal we can decide what is the fair value of the company's old or used motor vehicles. Now what if entity does not have a market information for the particular items of PP? If there's no market information for a particular items of PP, entity may decide the fair value based on the income approach or based on the depreciated replacement cost approach. Under depreciated cost replacement cost approach, we assume what if our existing machine is going to be replaced. Let's say company has a soap making plant. Let's say soap making company has a soap making plant. The soap making plant, there's no secondary market, there's no buyers and sellers for the soap making plants, unlike for motor vehicles. For motor vehicles we have a lot of buyers and sellers, and we have a secondary market for old motor vehicles, but there's no market for used soap plants. There's no buyers and sellers, there's no transactions for buying and selling of the soap plant. So there's no market information for the soap plant. So how we can decide the fair value of this our old soap plant? So we can adopt, let's say, depreciated replacement cost approach. Another example, let's say Ceylon Electric Board has constructed a coal power plant which cost 8,000 rupees or 8,000 millions. Original cost 8,000 million. We have constructed it 5 years ago. Let's say we have constructed a coal power plant 5 years ago for 8,000, and let's say the useful life of this coal power plant is 40 years. So accordingly, and the residual value is 0. So accordingly, what is the annual depreciation? 8,000 divided by 40, annual depreciation is 200 rupees. So accordingly, we have used this for 5 years. So accordingly, accumulated depreciation is 1000 million or 1,000 rupees, right? Let's say 1,000 million, right? So accordingly, carrying amount is 7,000. So this is the information about the existing coal power plant. Now we want to decide the fair value of this um, power plant. We can now find out market information because there's no market for, there's no buying and selling of coal power plants. So we can adopt depreciated replacement cost method. Under depreciated replacement cost method, what we can do is we can identify what if you are going to replace the existing coal power plant with the new one. Let's say it costs 10,000 million. 10,000 million. So can we say accordingly our existing coal power plant worth or fair value is 10,000 million? No. Why? Our existing coal power plant 5-year-old. This 10,000 million is a newly replacement cost. So accordingly we can't say this is the fair value because our coal power plant is 5-year-old. So what we can do, we can depreciate the replacement cost for 5 years. Let's say this coal power plant again 40 years useful life. So what is the annual depreciation accordingly? Divide this by 40. Accordingly it is 250. Annual depreciation 250. So what if this newly replaced coal power plant used for 5 years? Then our accumulated depreciation would be 1,250. Then the carrying amount would have been how much? 8,750. Now we can now compare this 8,250 with our carrying amount. So accordingly we can say the fair value of this our existing coal power plant based on the depreciated replacement cost is 8,250. So we can consider this is the fair value of our existing coal power plant based on depreciated replacement cost. Keep in mind, you don't need to physically replace your existing coal power plant, right? We do some technical calculation. We will now see okay, what will happen to our accumulated depreciation when you are going to revalue your assets. When you are going to revalue asset, what is the treatment for accumulated depreciation? There are two approaches to treat for your accumulated depreciation or provision for depreciation account balance. There are two treatments. Treatment number one, you can eliminate the accumulated depreciation account balance against the gross carrying amount of the asset. Actually, this is what you have been doing for your advanced level. So accordingly, you are familiar with the first method. That means when you revalue, accumulated depreciation account balance is eliminated. So no more depreciation as at the date of revaluation, right? So all the accumulated depreciation account balance is set off against the gross carrying amount of the existing assets. So that is the one approach. So this method is allowed or can be applied when you revalue your PP based on market information. For example, if you are going to revalue your motor vehicles, your used motor vehicles with the secondary market information, then you can adopt this particular method. Then you can eliminate your accumulated depreciation from your account. But what if you are going to determine the fair value of your property, plant and equipment based on depreciated replacement cost method? Like the method we just explained with the soap making plant and the coal power plant examples. There we determine the fair value of the existing soap plant and the existing coal power plant based on the depreciated replacement cost method. If you decide the fair value of the property, plant and equipment based on the depreciated cost method or depreciation replacement cost method, you cannot eliminate the accumulated depreciation account balance. Under this method, you can restate the accumulated depreciation account balance proportionately with the change in the gross carrying amount. So we can right, we will now see how these two approaches can be adopted accordingly with an example. Okay, so this is example number 6.8. The following balances are given as at 1st April 2018. So machine at cost 2.3 million and the accumulated depreciation account balance is 900,000. Right, now it is said the machine was revalued on 1st April 2018 at 1.5 million based on its market value, right, based on its market value for the first time, right. So this information is very important because, right, now the fair value or the revalued amount or the fair value has been determined referring to market information. So you can then adopt elimination method. So depreciation balance can be eliminated and then depreciation balance will be zero soon after the revaluation. Thereafter again accumulated depreciation account will be created, right. The existing accumulated depreciation account balance will be eliminated, right. In the future there will be depreciation on the this particular asset based on the revalued amount, right. Okay, so we will now see how to do this, right. So these are the information given. You are given the cost information 2,300 and the accumulated depreciation as of now 900,000. Accordingly carrying amount is the difference between cost and the depreciation is 1,400, and the entity has revalued this particular asset based on the market evidence for 1,500. So hereafter our machine value should be how much? 1,500. Our asset value should be 1,500, and since we have determined the fair value based on the market information, accumulated depreciation account balance should become zero hereafter, right. Asset value should become 1,500 or 1.5 million. Depreciation balance should be zero, right. Accordingly soon after the revaluation carrying amount should be 1,500. So how, right, this can be done. So we will now see how to compute the revaluation based on these information, right. There are different approaches. So I will show you how to compute the revaluation gain or loss by preparing a revaluation account. So you can prepare an account like this, and let's say this account is revaluation account. This is one alternative approach, right. So this revaluation account, so you can see this asset, right, cost is 2,300 and this cost, you have a debit balance 2,300. This debit balance should now become 1,500. So debit balance should be decreased from 2,300 to 1,500. So accordingly this asset account should be credited, by 800 and it should be debited to revaluation account like this 800. So asset account is credited 800 and revaluation account is debited 800, right. Then at the same time you have depreciation account. Now depreciation account has or accumulated depreciation account or provision for depreciation account. You have a credit balance 900,000. This 900,000 balance should be transferred to revaluation account, so accumulated depreciation account balance becomes zero. Accumulated depreciation account debit 900 and credit to revaluation account. So now accumulated depreciation account balance zero. And now you can, from this revaluation account, you can now see, right, what is the result. Now revaluation account has been debited by 800 and credited by 900. Accordingly, we can balance of this account, and you can see there's a credit balance of 100,000, right. So this is the revaluation gain. This revaluation gain can be credited to revaluation reserve account. When it comes to prepare the financial statements, in the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, you can show this gain on revaluation under other comprehensive income. And in the statement of financial position, the carrying amount of this asset should be 1500. Under disclosure, you should disclose the fact that your asset has been revalued, and whether the revaluation was done by professionally qualified valuers and the other related information relating to revaluation. So alternatively, you can do this revaluation through your asset account as standard suggests, right? You can open the asset account, and asset account there's an open balance of 2300, and as per the standard says, the if you revalue your asset based on the market information, accumulated depreciation balance should be written off against the gross carrying amount. So depreciation account balance can be credited to asset account, and the revalued amount can be carried down from the asset account as 1500. Then you can balance off this account, so 2400. Then still you can see the same result. We can identify revaluation gain is 100,000. So we'll now see another example for depreciated replacement cost approach. Under depreciated replacement cost approach, you cannot eliminate the accumulated depreciation account balance. Instead, accumulated depreciation account balance should be proportionately restated. So we'll now see this example. Accordingly, the following balances are given as at 1st April 2017. The building, its cost is 2 million, and accumulated depreciation 400,000. It was decided to revalue this building on 1st April 2017. However, there was no active market for this building, right? Sometimes it could be let's say a kind of a particular building, so there are no interested buyers for this particular building. So nevertheless, the fair value of this building was estimated at rupees 1.8 million using depreciated replacement cost method. There's no market information. By adopting depreciated replacement cost method, the fair value has been decided for 1.8 million. Under this method, you cannot eliminate your accumulated depreciation account. You cannot eliminate your provision for depreciation account balance. Okay, so these are the information given. Cost of the asset as of now 2000, accumulated depreciation 400, accordingly carrying amount is 1600. Based on the revalued amount, our carried amount should be hereafter 1800. Our existing carrying amount is 1600. So accordingly, this is the ratio we should use to proportionately restate all of our balances, right? So accordingly, we can use this ratio to restate all the items. So accordingly, cost can be multiplied by this ratio. Accordingly, cost will be increased by 250 to 2250, and accumulated depreciation 400 multiplied by this ratio 1.125. Accordingly, accumulated depreciation account balance now should be 250. Then it will give you the result that we wanted to achieve, that is, accordingly, now new carrying amount of the asset should be 1800. We will now see accordingly how to do this adjustment in the ledger account. So I will again use the revaluation account. So you can open an account like this and say, let's say, revaluation account. Now what we should do, our existing asset account should be increased from 2000 to 2250. That means asset account should be debited by 250. So we can debit asset account to 250 and credit revaluation account. At the same time, accumulated depreciation account, existing balance is 400, it should be increased to 450. So accumulated depreciation account balance should be increased, so it should be credited by 50. So it should be debited to revaluation account by 50. and you can see there's a gain on revaluation 200. You can see the asset account debit impact is how much? 250. Credit impact how much? 50. So net increase in asset how much? 200. So increase in asset that will result in increase in equity, right, in this revaluation. So accordingly there's a revaluation gain. This revaluation gain can be credited to revaluation reserve account. Well, we will now discuss the last item of our discussion, disclosure requirements. So we will see now what are the disclosure requirements under LK 16. As per LK 16, you need to disclose this information regarding your property, plant and equipment. The financial statements shall disclose for each class of property, plant and equipment. First, the measurement basis used for determining gross carrying amount. You can use different bases. We discuss cost models or revaluation models. You can disclose the measurement basis you used to report your property, plant and equipment. Then the depreciation method used. We discussed 3 different depreciation methods suggested by the accounting standards: straight line methods, diminishing balance method and the unit of production method. So you need to disclose what is the depreciation method used for each category of property, plant and equipment. Then next, the useful life or depreciation rate used for each class of property, plant and equipment should be disclosed. Next, the gross carrying amount and the accumulated depreciation at the beginning and at the end of the period, and the reconciliation of the carrying amount at the beginning and at the end of the period. So these disclosure requirements can be made by preparing property, plant and equipment schedule. Next, if the entity has pledged their property or plants or their equipments against some loans borrowed as collaterals, they need to provide further details about those property, plant and equipment. That means when the company obtain loans or when the company sometimes issue debentures, company might have pledged their assets, their properties or their plants against the loans they borrowed. So if the entity has pledged their assets as collaterals against the loans they borrowed, right, they need to provide further disclosures on those assets. Those disclosure requirements are mentioned here. You can study there. Then if the entity has revalued your properties or your plant and equipment, you need to provide information about your revaluation. That means the effective date of the revaluation, what are the assumptions you made, or whether the independent valuer was involved. For the properties, that means lands and buildings, you must determine the fair value of your properties, support of professionally qualified valuers. Accordingly, if you revalued your property, plant and equipment or any category of property, plant and equipment, you need to provide this information regarding your valuation. So accordingly, if we sum up, we discussed 4 main areas: definitions of new key terms, then recognition criteria, number 3, measurement at initial recognitions, number 4, subsequent measurement after initial recognitions or subsequent measurement at the reporting date after the initial recognitions, then disclosure requirements. Okay, thanks for watching.